Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Nerdrunners. I'm Mark, and with me on the podcast, as always, ladies and gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. We have the capability. He will be better than he was before. Better, stronger, faster. Stefan.
Hiya. I can't ever live up to that. There is no, you've set the bar far too high. Although I am in serious need of rebuilding today.
Yeah, birthday hangover, I believe.
Yeah, it was my birthday yesterday, and there were many drinks had, and games shouted about, and all kinds of shenanigans in town. At one point, I think I was thrown out of a bar. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm back, or we're back, to talk about everybody's favourite game that I actually taught to my brother. Taught him yesterday.
Cool, how did that go?
Well, he got... he found it very enjoyable, and then he got a little bit cocky, so I took him down with just leaving it with a teaching deck and just pulling out some of my, well, they're not tier 1, but tier 7 decks, which is the best I can possibly get, really. Yeah, how are you? How are things?
Very well. Been quite chilled out recently for a change, and given myself time to finish Bloodborne, which has been amazing. And
have you finished it?
Yeah, it took me about 30 hours to beat the campaign.
I've only just started. I was really hoping I could buddy up with... Oh, well.
You should still be able to summon me in for any boss fights and stuff.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I did...
You can nurse me through it like you did Dark Souls 2.
Yes. Thankfully, the multiplayer should be a bit easier this time. But once I finished the game, because I kind of finished it by accident in a way, I was kind of expecting a bit more to happen. But I think I made the decision that ended the game rather than just continuing it for a little while. And yeah, so I thought, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll roll a different character, and I'll start with I'll play like a strength build, and I'll use the axe instead of my saw cleaver.
Oh yeah.
And the game is so hard. Like going back to the beginning of the game, it's like, man, this game is difficult. I'd forgotten I'd been a level 90 for quite some time, and now going back to being a level 10 is quite difficult in Bloodborne. But it's
I literally
good.
just started this morning and immediately died 3 times. So I'm looking forward to relearning all of the Dark Souls skills I've lost.
Well, the good thing is that you really don't need to relearn that many because it's very different. I think it's all about aggression and speed, whereas Dark Souls is about hiding behind your shield and cowering.
I think it's mainly me playing hungover is probably not the best way.
Yeah, that's probably not great.
But anyway, that's enough about other games.
Yes.
We've had some interesting developments in the Netrunner world.
Mm-hmm.
Most recently, 2 new wonderful data packs have been released.
Came out in rapid succession.
Which is surprising. I'd only just about recovered enough to get some money together for the first pack when the second one just came in.
To be honest, I'm kind of glad they had the issues with the production of these packs, because it gave me so much time to get behind Order and Chaos and properly. I think my max deck is just really good now. Like
it's solid.
Yeah, I don't think there's much I want to tinker with anymore with that. I think it's quite happy with where it is, and I don't think I would. I think the thing I've found is that because Order and Chaos came out, I threw so many of those cards, the Anarch cards, into a deck, and it kind of worked straight off the bat. But I forgot when it comes to data packs how it kind of drip feeds you stuff. So you get maybe 1 or 2 cards and think, this is great, but I could do with a few more cards from this cycle before this deck actually works as I want it to. And
you want to live like me and just not look at any cards for the cycle until... Because I get all my news through you, because when I just kind of sit there and get along with all the... Just trying to make stupid decks on my own, and then you just send, have you seen this broken card? Like, ooh, look, I could do something with this, and with this, and with this, and this, and this.
Yeah, although you did get me to look at the Breaker Bay spoilers, and that got me excited for those.
They were dumb, that's why.
I hadn't realised they were out so soon, but... Yeah, two data packs in about 2 weeks is crazy. It's almost like getting a big box, really. Kind of getting a massive influx of cards in such a short space of time. Hopefully, we'll be back to the kind of, because I like having like a month between the data packs to kind of get my head around the new cards and get the hang of playing them and get the hang of playing against them. And yeah, when so many get thrown at you all at once, it's kind of like a big box, and you kind of go, I don't know what to do. There's so many new things.
No, I like that. I like the feeling of all the toys all the time.
Yeah. Oh, great. Did you want to start off talking about the pack since we've already begun?
Yeah, let's talk about the valley. So, I can't remember which valley it is. It's Sansan Valley, isn't it? In lore. I
Yeah,
can't
it's
remember. My brain is really not working, so you're going to have to nurse me through.
I think it's San Francisco because I think it's to do with the San Andreas fault line or something like that. And there's a massive
Oh,
earthquake and it just ruined everything. But then all the tech companies swooped in and went, "Hey, cheap land, let's build here and start doing genetics and technology."
I was going to say it was the starting point for Gintechie America, I believe.
Love this idea of like the kind of bonsai tree of Jinteki just with a backdrop of the American flag behind it.
Yeah. So, shall we go? What has been enticing you about the Valley? And I know there was one you're particularly happy about, which was Next Gold.
Yes.
But I think we've talked about that.
I know. I'm not going to dwell on Next Gold as we did last time because oh my god, that card is amazing. And Next Golding someone, followed by Next Golding someone, following by a Galahad with some Merlin subroutines. It's just the best feeling. wipes all their cards and then just kills them.
Yep.
But yeah, one card that I'm growing to like, and we'll talk about this when we talk about the decks later on. But Valley Grid has been one of those slow burner cards for me. I think where at first I kind of looked at it and was like, is that it? And then reading it and then properly understanding that it's not just like. Because at first I read it and I was like, oh, it's just to do with no matter how many ice you have in front of that server, it's just going to be one less hand size because of one ice. But then I'm realizing slowly as more and more people talk about it online, oh shit, that's -1 hand size for every piece of ice. This card is crazy good.
Yeah.
And then thinking of all the mean things I could do with it. At first I thought it would be really good in industrial genomics, and I initially started building a deck around that, but IG runs so many upgrades and assets, you don't really have the space for the ice to make that big server to really make Valley Grid kick off. I mean, it's good for the inflated trash cost, so when they actually do hit the end of the server, they can't trash it. But I've ended up putting it into Replicating Perfection, because I was always building big servers with that anyway. And I think, yeah, if you can not only tax them with like time and credits, but also tax them by reducing the hand size, that opens up yet another scoring window.
It's a. We should say what the card does as well, because this is Valley Grid, which whenever the runner breaks subroutines on a piece of ice protecting the server, maximum hand size reduced by 1. Yada yada yada.
Until the beginning of the runner.
The
corporation's next
turn. Yes.
So yeah.
So it's one of the cards that really makes people think about what they're doing. You read that in a server that's 2 deep with ice even, and they instantly think, well, this could be game for me. It's depending on what's at the bottom of the server, really. And
I like this when you have a fetal AI sitting on top of it as well. Because they take 2 net damage for seeing the fetal, and if they've already gone down 4 pieces of ice, then you've just won the game.
Yep.
Which is quite
You've really got to think about what you're doing at that point.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
I like this. It's just a threat. You just res this at the start of the ice encounter, and it's like, do you really want to come past 3 pieces of ice and lose 3 cards from your hand? Maybe you want to jack out now.
just immediately played 2 Ds, was like, alright then, let's go.
And it's just 3 quandaries it's sitting behind as well.
Yeah.
Because that's the best thing about this card. You probably want to put cheap end the run ice in front of it. You don't want any of the subroutines to fire, and you want to probably just res quickly and cheaply the ice that's in front of it. So it's like, just keep coming down this server, keep breaking those subroutines, keep losing your hand size, and they can even fake it out with, especially with my Replicating Perfection build, just throw in a pad campaign or a Sundew. Get them to waste a click hitting the central first, a second click running on this, and then their hand size because they got to the bottom and found a pad campaign as well.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yep.
Ridiculous. I love this game, man.
Yeah. The other one as well, because Jinteki did get a lot of love in this pack that I quite like, is Cortex Lock, and it's a 2 to res 4 strength sentry. So 1 subroutine, do 1 net damage for each unused MU the runner has. So goodbye,
Which
Sage
ruins,
decks.
Yeah, ruins Sagesaurus, ruins Overmind. Oh, it's upsetting.
I like this. I like this as kind of the Neural Katana type replacement card.
It's so cheap as well.
Yeah. It's 2 for 4 strength. I'm a big fan of kind of 2-4 when it comes to that ratio for assets, because I think that's kind of the sweet spot for a lot of assets. Is you want to res it for half as much as it's going to cost the runner, but 4 strength on a sentry, that's quite mean.
Oh, and it's only 2 influence. It's just, I love it. I hate it. I hate it.
It's good.
Oh, dear.
How about you? Any of the cards taking your interest, really?
I like Predictive Algorithm because it's an NBN card and it's current that really, really, really ruins the runner's day. And it's got awesome art on, which I really want to get on something. I'm not entirely sure what.
It looks
just
like
in a poster.
It looks like some kind of crazy multi-limbed child playing Jenga,
It's Kaplunk.
Playing Kaplunk with her own head. It's just
Kaplunk head.
Yeah.
That's what I've been referring to it to. No, but this is a current agenda, and as an additional cost to steal an agenda, the runner must pay 2 credits. So now NAPD contracts are just 6 credits to steal, which is nice.
Yep.
You've really got to make them think, and I find that because it's a current, people tend not to be paying attention to it.
Yes.
Like if you play it out early and it just sits there. And they're like, okay, cool. And they'll forget that they need an extra 2 credits to get in. So I've seen someone just burn through ice, like, yes! And they've only got a credit left. Like, oh, damn it all!
Yeah.
But it's very good, and it's only 1 influence, so I think that's going to be in a lot of decks.
I like it too.
I like the Jinteki Biotech Identity.
Now, I've had this played against me, and it's so difficult playing against 3 identities at the same time whilst not understanding which identity you're playing against. Because at any point I'm thinking, right, that's either... Because what are the 3 are do 2 net damage, shuffle all cards in archives into R&D, and advance a card 4 times.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, right, well, I can't go down to 2 cards in hand. At any point, all those nasty things that I'm trashing are going to come right back. So R&D digging is not the best thing. And then it's like, wow, then I can't leave a card because that could just be a Ronin that's going to hurt me. And just and the way they ended up winning the game out. Admittedly, I was not playing a great deck against this against their identity, but they just they were on 4 points and they'd advanced a card once, and I couldn't get in to take it. And then they flipped their identity, advanced it 4 more times and scored it out, and it was like the final 3 points they needed. And to be honest, that's kind of how I see that card working more frequently than not. I think the quadruple advance is probably going to be the favoured of the 3, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. It's an odd one.
Because as well, if you put in Biotic Labour, you can quintuple advance a card and you can score out 5-3 from hand.
Yeah, which is bonkers, really.
Oh, Jinteki is just getting like even more mind gamey, and like I said, it was super hard to play against the ID because you just don't know what's coming. Because again, it's like you're playing not only 3 identities but 3 decks at the same time. Because I think if when people build this deck, it's going to be to do all of it. Is to flatline you with like out of nowhere net damage, is to quickly advance out the last points they need, or score out something really early that they want, or again, just
I think
put the threats back in. So
I mean, it's going to be difficult there. I think there's only going to be 1 or 2 different decks being produced for this ID, because you do have to have 3 decks in one, which can just sounds like such a headache. But hey, I'm looking forward to trying it.
Yeah.
Or you just ruin everybody. You're just like, oh, I'm always just going to pick the net damage one because I really can't be bothered to do anything else.
Yeah.
And I also like Capital Investors because everyone's been kind of ragging on it a little bit. I'm like, it's a magnum opus for Wayland.
Yeah, I think finally Wayland's starting to get some assets.
Yeah,
which
they need.
Which they need, especially with Gagarin, so they don't have to import all their assets all the time. And yeah, 2 credits for a click, and it becomes a 3 trash cost in Gagarin, or 1 to access 2 to trash in Gagarin, I should say. It's only 2 to res, so it's 3 cheaper than a magnum opus to get out.
Exactly. It's a very nice early money card.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice. You can, you do have to spend a turn to gain 6 credits, but I tend to find with Wayland, all I need is just enough to trigger my other events, my operations even.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. It's good.
And I think this is really good for Wayland as well, because it's giving them a way that's not related to bad publicity. That's also joined with economic gain. So instead of having to with hostile takeover or geothermal fracking or anything like that, they're not. This is just you're just getting the money. It's nothing to do with taking bad pub and making it easier for the runner to get past your servers, which is good. I like it, and I also like the shark in the background.
Yeah.
Just like sharks sitting in front of sharks.
It's just the art. I wish I could just go and take a leaf through all the art they've ever had submitted for these cards, because I'd just steal it all and then get arrested. I don't know. I've made some poor choices.
You wouldn't be a very good runner. You'd get caught.
Oh yeah. Hey. That was awful.
I know.
I have a headache from a hangover, and I'm sure you've just made it worse. On the runner side of things, I'm not going to talk about Clot because everyone knows what Clot does.
I don't think. I'm just going to put it so. I don't think Clot's the game changer that everyone is wanting it to be, and I don't think it's one of those cards that should be splashing every deck just to prevent the Corp, because again, I played against this and they put out the Clot at the same time they had, I think, 8 data sucker counters. I was like, I was going to purge anyway.
Yeah.
Now I've got another reason to purge, and the Clot was gone. It's like, yeah, now I don't really have to worry.
It just slows down fast advance. That's all it does.
Yeah.
It's just adding more time, I think, for runners, and I think everyone, much like with any other card, they're going, oh, it's going to break. No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I think after the initial overreaction, everyone settled down and gone, actually, it's kind of good, but at the same time, it's not really going to make the earth-shattering difference that we all expected it to.
No, but the things that have been really interesting me are the genetics.
Good.
Cards.
I'm glad you've introduced it like that, because I was going to say, let's talk about them as a set, because they kind of are.
Yeah, and I don't know if they are releasing. Are they releasing one in each thing, or is it just for this? Is it just this pack that they've got them in?
I think
they're
going to pepper them out because they've got cybernetics as well later with brain cage and stuff like that. So I think each pack's going to have some genetics or cybernetics in it.
Mm-hmm. But yes, the genetics. It's the first time you do something a turn, it does a thing. Really, that's essentially it.
Yeah.
So for just a chronotype, the first time you lose a click, you gain a click. For synthetic blood, the first time you take damage each turn, you draw a card.
And enhanced vision is the first time you make a successful run each turn. The Corp reveals one card at random from HQ, which I really like in a Kentenma deck because it's always running.
Ooh, Kentenma.
Oh, and then there's Systemic Visage as well, which is the first
Symmetrical Visage.
I'm not with it today.
Are you well?
What do I think
have
of
an excuse.
systemic?
What's wrong with you?
and then we have Symmetrical Visage, which you have to say Visage.
A lot of editing.
Visage. First time you spend a click to draw a card, not through card ability, gain a credit, which is kind of like a professional contact. And I have seen this mostly played in Shaper decks, which did get me wondering, for 3 credits less and a once per turn ability, is it better than professional contacts?
I think I don't know, because I often think that professional contacts is used a bit too much.
Yeah.
Because for drawing, it's really good if you need to draw a lot of cards, but you've got so many options in Shapers to draw cards.
I suppose you have Diesel and Quality Time are the main 2 big card draws, and I guess a lot of decks are now using I've Had Worse to get 3 card draw as well.
Yep, and I think, but you compare it with the location for Shapers, which was the Gene Conditioning Shop, which lets you trigger the second time each turn their triggering condition is met.
Yeah, it
looks a lot better.
It does, yeah.
So I'm considering throwing together some kind of genetics deck at some point. Which will use all of my influencers on genetics, which is probably a bad idea.
Yeah, but also could be the greatest idea ever.
You never know.
But no, I like the gin. I was going to say gin techies. The genetics.
There you go.
The idea behind it, and just the whole kind of. It almost feels like a second runner ID ability. Yet you can have, if you're running, as you indeed intend to, multiple genetic upgrades, then you're kind of getting the benefit of being like several different runners at once, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I quite like that your runner can, you might have you might gain 1 credit for the first time you play a run event if you're Kentenma, and then all of a sudden you're also drawing cards when you take damage, and it's Yeah, I just think it's really interesting. Again, it's so thematically tight that if you think about the runner having just this innate ability in them, and them going, actually, I want a second one, and they just choose from the shop window and go, that's the one that's going to go well with my my current ability. Let's put that in me. And
I look great and I can see well. Let's get some synthetic blood just rolling through my body. And I know I've talked a lot about art so far, but oh my god, couldn't be more Bioshock if it tried.
I know.
Some of this art, it's great.
I really want to make it like a Rapture themed deck.
It's such old Hollywood. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm liking the cards so far in the Valley. I like one of the last ones I'll probably talk about is Spike, which is another Cloud Breaker, which is quite nice because it lowers your memory, which obviously isn't particularly good if you come up against Cortex Lock, but it's nice if you want to save some MU.
The thing that really interests me about, I mean, again, this kind of goes back to what I was saying about at the start of the cycle, you don't have all the tools, and I mean, as we know from spoilers, there are going to be further Cloud Breakers for the criminals. But the thing that really interests me about Spike is it gets its strength from other installed icebreakers. So either you have like
weird, isn't it?
9 Cloud Breakers out, or you have kind of a standard, your normal rig, and then you put out the Spike for just when you need to get past 3 barrier subroutines at once. Don't know. It feels like one of those cards. It's gonna come together. It will, because obviously they design the cycle as one. But at this moment in time, it's like, how the fuck do I use that? Because I think about any criminal deck that I've built, and it's like, well, criminals realistically they just get the right tool for the job when they need it, so they can run, as my Leela deck has been doing, about 11 different breakers, and you just pull out the Mimic if you need the Mimic over Garrote, or you pull out Passport if you need that over Rex. And this just feels like it's specialized in a way that the criminals haven't really seen yet.
I think it's just interesting
Yeah.
at the minute, and I'm curious as to what's going to happen later on. We'll see.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about anything else?
It's so difficult not to do like a full data pack review, because I want to talk about everything.
I know. Well, I'll tell you what. Shall we go to university?
We shall. I think it's probably the best thing to do.
Which is good advice, just as a general rule. I mean, because then you can meet people you can start Netrunner podcast with.
Yes.
Shameless self-promotion. Anyway, Breaker Bay, which has all the university cards, which I'm kind of in love with.
And oh my god, the Shaper's got so much love in this pack as well.
They did. I, as you know, I've recently been building green card bullshit decks, which I think I did all right against you. Actually, I was surprised at how well that dry run did.
Yeah.
Obviously, I lost, but still, it came close.
Well, for a first time piloting it, and you were like first time with prepaid as well, it was pretty good.
Oh, it's just sick. sick thing. But
I honestly still struggle to play against Shapers. It's just, I feel safe when I put my ice out, and then all of a sudden they've got an SMC on the board, so they can go fetch whatever they want, and then there's a clone chip down, so it doesn't matter if I trash what I was going to trash, and it's like, oh my god, just...
I have to admit, I did do against you several times one of my favourite tricks, which is stim hacking with an SMC out.
Oh, yes. It's like, I'll just get what I need and have all the money to break your shit.
I don't need my brain, it's fine. But yes, Breaker Bay. Shall we start with the runners this time, seeing as we were talking about Shaper crap?
Yes. I really like London Library.
Tell us what it does.
London Library, it's a location, and you trash all programs hosted on London Library when your turn ends. So basically, you just turn off the power at the end of the day. And for one click, you can install a non-virus program, sorry noise, from your grip on London Library, ignoring the install cost. Hello, Fem. And for another click, you can add a program on London Library to your grip. And yeah, like I say, for the main problem with Fem has usually been the corp will either trash the piece of ice at a pinch to get rid of that Fem counter, or you Fem something without exposing it, and it's a quandary, and you feel sad and bad and hate life. So being able to just put a fem down for free, so you save those 9 credits, fem counter whatever you need for that turn, and then just pick it up at the end of your turn and go, next turn that fem counter can go somewhere else, is awesome.
Yeah. And even if you run out of time, there's always clone chip in faction.
Exactly,
just to bring a program back.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a wonderful card.
It is wonderful, and I know this is spoilery, but there's an upcoming Shaper card which I see this working incredibly well with, which is Chameleon. And when you install Chameleon, you name either Fractor, Decoder, or Killer, and it becomes like a Chameleon. It takes on that breaker. And the great thing about Chameleon is, at the end of your turn, it just returns to your grip. It's like a homing Chameleon. So the best thing about Chameleon...
Oh, that's a horrible mental image right there.
Chameleon will negate that last click to remove the card. So it will make London Library even better, and you can just have crazy Chameleon decks where you just play 2 Chameleons down for the first 2 clicks, do what you need to do on 3rd and 4th click, and then they just come back to your hand. And just have this, and again, the Chameleons go down for free, because at first when I read Chameleon, it's like, oh, this is kind of like Chimera, I guess, and it's every time you put it down, it's going to cost you 3, but you can get through what you need to, kind of like, Chimera reses for 2, and you say whatever you don't want, or say whatever cards the runner doesn't have, so they stop. I was like, yeah, I guess, but 3 is kind of expensive, and now I see how Chameleon is going to be amazing, but I think combined with other cards like Fem and generally expensive cards, London Library is going to be pretty sweet. And I'm looking forward to playing with that, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting kind of cycling card, which is quite nice. Yeah. What else do you like?
I really like Comet, because I think this can do what Doppelganger does, but maybe slightly better for Ken. It pains me to say that, because I love Ken, I love Doppelganger, but most of the time, out of the 20-odd events I'm running out of Ken, 16 of them tend to be run events. And to be able to kind of play an event, say I could Sure Gamble, and then immediately play Account Siphon, or Account Siphon and then play another run event straight from hand, I think that really is going to make Ken even faster, and I really want to build a Comet Ken deck.
I'm going to be slotting into my prepaid Kate deck, just because it has all the events anyway.
Yeah.
So, I might as well get all the money all the time without spending clicks.
Oh.
So it means that double events are going to be an interesting mix in that, especially if you throw it in with Starlight Crusade funding.
Yeah, to save that other click as well.
To just save all the clicks. So imagine the amount of reckless events I can perform. It's going to be insane.
You can Queen's Gambit and Power Nap and Lucky Find
all kinds of shenanigans. All day long. I won't even need to go running. I'll just make all the money.
But obviously Comet combos really well with our Shaper runner Haley, who first time you install a card, so basically every other card except events that Comet does, you may install another card from of the same type from your grip. So install a program, install another program.
Which is important. Yeah, it's important to note that a friend of mine read this and said, "Oh, what do you need two of the same copy of programs for?" It's like, no, just the same type, the same type.
Again, this was another one that got me at first. I was like, well, why would I need a second decoder out? No, they're subtypes, Mark.
Yes.
Think about the type. No,
yes,
I think
very, very good.
I didn't play against, but I kind of was observing someone playing like a proxied Haley deck. Using Comet, and they also used 2 other cards, which we'll talk about now, I guess, Beach Party and Game Day. They used Beach Party to lose a click at the start of their turn and increase their hand size by 5, and then they used Game Day, which is a double event, which will go lovely with Comet and Starlight Crusade funding. And as a double, if you have fewer cards in your grip than your max hand size, draw cards until you have the number of cards equal to your maximum hand size. So basically you can play Beach Party, then double event Game Day to get the rest of the cards you need to get up to I assume 10? If you've got a starting hand of 5 and max increase of 5 by Beach Party. But the
only way I can see it actually having a faster cycle through the deck than a max deck currently is this.
It's kind of like that. I think that combo is like the Shaper Duggars.
Yes.
And the guy was also
not stupid.
and the guy who's running this was also running what was it now? It just
Wildside?
adjusted chronotype at the same time. So for Beach Party, they weren't actually losing that click, but they got to keep the max +5 hand size.
Oh, it's just annoying. It's annoyingly brutal.
It is. So that I thought that was a really nice combo.
It is. It's very nice. And they also have a new icebreaker, the study guide, which has +1 strength for each power counter on it. For a credit, break a code gate subroutine. For 2 credits, place a power counter on study guide, which is kind of fine.
Yeah, I think
it's going to make you poor.
Yeah, this is a tricky one. It's kind of like it's almost like 2 per strength, but then that strength is there forever.
Yes.
So yeah, this is good. I think it's. I don't know. I think primarily a lot of people are running kind of Refractor or Gordian Blade, so it might take a lot to.
Yeah.
Get people kind of away from that. Thank you. No, I like Study Guide. Again, I like it, but it feels like
it's missing something.
Yeah, it feels like the support cards aren't there yet, or the Fractor and the Killer that also have like similar, like thematic power counter power or power counter strength. Yeah. It feels like they'll be coming at some point, and then you want to make the deck with all 3 of them.
And then moving on to Criminals, they have a modded for resources now, which is Career Fair, which install a resource from your grip, lowering the install cost by 3. That's pretty good in resource-heavy decks, which
especially ones
that tend
playing
to be.
The Supplier these days. I think that is the Supplier 2 or 3 to get out. I can never remember.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't ever play it.
But basically, that's going to get you the Supplier out for either free or
free.
Or saving one credit.
It's 3 cost.
Is it 3 cost? Okay.
Yes.
So Career Fair gets out your supply for free, and then you can continue to install resources and hardware for lots less money.
Yes. So that's just making Criminals richer, which is annoying, because that's the last thing we needed. They also got a new computer, which is the Dorm computer. 4 power counts on Dorm computer when you install it. For a click and host a power counter, make a run, avoid all tags for the remainder of this run. That's stupid.
I like it, but again, at first I was like, oh, I guess that means you can kind of not take tags after your siphon and stuff like that. And it's like, no, it's a click ability through the card, so I guess if you're gonna hit, I don't know, something like Gutenberg, which is the
nice
beautiful segue, which is Trace 7, which you probably don't want to beat, and it's either going to be a 3 or 6 strength sentry depending on its placement. Dorm computer could probably be quite good against that, but yeah, it feels like you'll be playing this and running when you know you'll be hitting the tag from the corporation, and probably it's not going to be anything as the result of the runner giving yourself a tag.
It's pretty cool. It annoys me just because I like playing very tag heavy decks. And, it's just irritating.
Yes.
And it's hardware, so you can just bring it right back with all kinds of
trickery.
Shenanigans.
Yes.
Oh, it's awful.
But yeah.
And what else have we got?
There's a Hacktivist meeting, which I quite like as a current. This feels like the opposite to housekeeping.
Of course. I hadn't even thought about it like that.
So usual current rules, 1 cost to play out, and there's an additional cost for the corporation to res non-ice cards. The corp must randomly trash a card from HQ. Which is great in our lovely asset and upgrade heavy way that things tend to be these days. And even just a corporation resing an Adonis campaign, they're going to have to trash something from HQ, which is nice.
Really, all I feel Breakabait does at the minute is give tools to the runner so they can start beating my Pairnad deck. So can't res assets, they're not taking tags. I mean, what's the point?
That's fine. It gave you nice tools in the form of Blacklist.
Oh my god, Blacklist. Blacklist. Blacklist is my new favourite card.
Yeah. I love the sad, dejected student on the cover on the art for it as well.
It's free. It's a 0 cost, 3 to trash asset. Cards cannot leave the runner's heap for any reason. Fuck you, Recursion.
That might as well be the flavour text.
Oh my god, it should be. It should really be. But then, there's a reason that I don't work for Fantasy Flight. You know my day will have come. I won't have told you, but it'll just be a card that simply says "Screw your recursion." But yes, is incredible against all kinds of mainly anarch crap, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But also just it protects against all the same old things, just everything.
Any shaper bullshit, green card shenanigans. Yeah. Goodbye clone ship. Goodbye test runs.
Yeah.
Well, test runs from the heap.
Yes. But it's good. It's good. And then, of course, Gutenberg, which you've already spoken about, which I like the named ices that we've got on this with
Pioneer
Gutenberg,
Ice,
Turing,
isn't
Crick.
it?
Yeah.
I've been like this last week. I've been trying to think of a good collective name for them. Best I've done so far is Pioneer Ice.
I just call them University Ice, just because that's where it's been coming from. But yeah, so yes, Gutenberg has +3 strength while protecting R&D. Pro 7 if successful, give the runner 1 tag. Then we have Crick for Jinteki. Crick has +3 strength while protecting archives, and then subroutine is install a card from archives, paying its install cost. Turing has +3 strength while protecting a remote server. This is for HB. Runner cannot use AI programs to break subroutines on Turing, which is great. And that the subroutine is end the run unless the runner spends 3 clicks. So that is essentially... Does that get rid of ETA runs? ETA's an AI, isn't it?
ETA is an AI, yes.
Yeah. The glory. The glory.
Not only that,
remote servers as well.
We'll do quickly Merumati as well, which is the Wayland barrier, and that's got the +3, but when protecting HQ, so it makes it a 4 strength barrier in that case, and it just ends the run, which is nice. But yeah, Turing is probably my favourite of the 3 University Ice, because 3 clicks to get through if you don't have an either 2 or 5 strength code gate breaker is bonkers, and this very quickly went into my new Replicating Perfection deck. Yep. If you think about it, click 1, run Central. Click 2, faceplant into a Turing. Oh, I only have 2 clicks left. Guess I can't get through this subroutine.
Yes. Or especially if you put it, just slot it in before an Eli or anything that, or more HB stuff.
Yeah.
Which is nice considering I'm currently trying to build an HB deck.
Yeah.
So that's definitely going in.
And I like Crick as well, because again, this is a nice just kind of... I'll just put this over archives. It's going to be 6 strength to get through this code gate, which again is crazy for code gate strength. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, again, it's like, oh, you want a security test or dirty laundry? That's fine. I'll just install something from my archives then.
Yeah, it's a shame that there are 3 of them. So Gutenberg, Crick, and Turing are 3 influence, and Merumati's 2. Mm. But no, I like Crick because it's like a cheap architect.
Yeah.
It's cheap half as good architect, which kind of, in my mind, is like, oh, you made architect, did you, HB? Well, we're Jinteki, and we made Crick.
Yeah, I think Merumati is only 2 because it is, at the end of the day, just a 4 strength barrier that ends the run.
Yeah.
If you put it over HQ, otherwise it's a 1 strength barrier that ends the run.
Hey, that's good. Yeah, that's good out of Wayland. Look at all the ice walls.
Yeah, that's true, and only 2 to res as well is pretty cool.
And it's cheap. They're all actually fairly cheap.
They are really good. And obviously, I put Crick and Turing in my new Replicating Perfection deck. I'll tell you how that goes next time. But yeah, the last one that I really wanted to talk about was Research Grant, because this is awesome, and this can just turn a game in a way that Domestic Sleepers has won people games because the runner's forgotten they're on 6 points and then you just triple click and win. But Research Grant, it's a 3-1 out of HB, and when you score Research Grant, you may score another copy of Research Grant that is installed. So if you go server mad as HB and have all 3 of your Research Grants out, that's 3 points for 3 advancements, which is pretty good.
Yep.
The only downside is
protect them all with Turings as well.
The only downside is obviously you probably don't want to score this one until you've got at least 1 more out, maybe. But at the same point, it's a 3-1, which is, quick and easy to score.
Mhm. And I just like the idea of getting a hand flooded with 3 of these to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, your first turn is just like, I'll put 3 cards down. They don't run on them because they think they could be traps or anything useless. Thinking, no, there's no way they're just going to put the 3 of them down.
Yeah.
And then immediately score 1 of it. Okay, I'm 3 points up. Cool.
Well, the best thing I found about HB recently is when I've been playing my Foundry deck, I often have 2 really big remote servers. Usually one for my IT department or for money cards or for the route. And I have another quite big remote server for scoring out of. And there are times where I've just struggled for money and just been like, if I put this in this remote, they have enough money to get it. I don't have enough to protect it. I know, I'll just put it out here naked on the side. And then next turn scored the accelerated beta test and been very smug, being like, ha 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 ha. And I
can picture your face.
Yeah, and I just like the idea for research grant as well. Just kind of like, okay, I'll put something in this server and then install in these 2 new remote servers, and they run on that server. They get to the bottom, it's taxed them to hell. It's just an Adonis. They're like, oh, screw this. The other 2 cards are probably Adonis, and then next turn research grant. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It's great. What else was there? Let's talk about. I want to talk about student loans.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing that is really, again, just screwing with recursion after a fashion. As a district cost play an event, there is a copy. If there is that there is a copy of in his or her heap, the runner must pay 2 credits.
So not only this is a fuck you, same old thing.
Yep.
It's also another asset for Wayland. They got 2 assets. Oh my god.
It's just they're going mad, I tell you.
Asset mad.
Ass mad? No. Sorry. I'll shut up now. But no, it's cool. It's 2 cost 3 to trash. It's just, again, it's more assets, more just messing with the runner, which is cool.
Yeah.
And we already mentioned it, but, well, we might as well talk about the other 2 that are left anyway. Breaker Bay Grid, which the rest cost of all cards in the server is lowered by 5.
Also known as this Sansan cost me basically nothing to res.
Which is, it's just, yeah. And then there's Recruiting Trip as well, which is an X cost operation. Search R&D for up to X different sysops by title, reveal them, and add them to HQ. Which is nice.
Which I think is like the foundation stone for this sysop heavy deck that we've all been waiting for.
The Super Friends deck.
Super Friends deck, yeah.
Yep.
And then, we might as well just quickly mention Off-Campus Apartment as well, which is, whenever you install a connection on Off-Campus Apartment, draw 1 card. It's Anarch, and it can host any number of connections. So Ian Sterling is probably going to be quite a fan of this in the super heavy connection deck. That
still doesn't work. It won't work. I tried so hard, and it still won't work.
Maybe now with Off-Campus Apartment you can do it.
Oh no! It won't work. There's no point. I've given up. I'm taking my cards and I'm going home.
That's it. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done.
Great. So that's pretty much all the cards. I know that we've had a few omissions, but we're trying not to review every single card. It's so hard. I think we might just have to give in and just do it and just review the
I think that's just what we're going to have to do.
Yeah.
But shall we quickly talk about what we've been playing?
Yeah.
Because usually we do this at the start, and I realised I was so excited about new cards.
That's because we had 2 data packs in the space of 2 weeks, and that's like basically our recording cycle. So all of a sudden, all of the new cards appeared.
All of the things.
All of the toys.
I think for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be playing some of the new cards.
Yeah.
I will be throwing them into my prepaid Kate. Might even make prepaid Haley.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why I wouldn't try it.
Again, with Comet and the speediness of the events, it might be quite a good one as well.
Yeah.
And also, if you're using prepaid to pay for the events, it's making them, you play 2 at once and they're basically free, which is awesome.
So I've been playing more green card crap. I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying it quite a lot. I did enjoy the game against you. I could hear the panic in your voice every time I'd just be throwing out. I think the MVP of the deck is just consistently the splash of Stimhack, which it's just great.
Again,
it's such a good card.
Because with Shapers as well, it's like they have the tools to get in when they want, which really is annoying when you're the corporation.
Yeah.
And then when they have the money to get in when they want as well, it's like, oh my god, just have the agenda. Here you go.
Yeah,
Or
it's a wonderful blitz running version of the deck, and yeah, I'm gonna chuck Astrolabe for the Comet because I think it would work well.
yeah.
And it's got Atmans in it, which I'm just ashamed every time I have to use them.
Yeah. a little part of you dies.
A little bit.
Oh.
But yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm thinking I might try. I started building a stealth Haley deck recently, and it's just like every time I did it, I was like, this is going to be better out of kit.
Yeah, it is. It is. And then corpse side, I've been still trying to get the Project Goddess off the ground.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't work. Still doesn't work. I'm not entirely sure how to stop it being so crap. But I did. It's as I said when we played. It's a shame that you cleared one tag when you did, because I was going to drop out an over advanced Project Ares with 9 counters on it.
Oh yeah, of course.
And then completely ruin your day.
But instead, just that going from 4 to 3 tags ruined your day.
Yeah. Oh, it's awful. So sad. So sad.
So sad. Oh man.
What have you been doing?
What have I been doing? I've not really. Well, I've kind of been waiting for the new cards so I can play with them all at once. But no, yeah, still playing my max deck. I'm still running fast and recklessly with it. I've gotten to the point now where I'm going to drop Levy, I think, from the deck. I know, the horror. Because I think a third account siphon is probably going to be better, and I dropped the Utopia shard as well. Because again, the best way I found to get tags to turn on Data Leak Reversal is just hitting the central with an account siphon, tagging myself, and then I'm tagged for Data Leak. And only having 2, and then basically there being like a 66% chance that they're going to get trashed anyway, so it's like, might as well up it to 3. And recently I've been winning all of my games with Max before I'm, halfway, 3/4 done on my deck. So I'm playing fast and carelessly anyway, so I think, why not get rid of the Levy? And I have won games before where Levy's been in the trash and I've not been able to recur it, and I've been left with 1 card in hand and panicking on how I'm going to actually win. But yeah, I think I've after struggling to think, do I want same old thing or I've had worse, I've decided I'll have both of them, and I've dropped the Davids. Because again, I was finding that they went in the trash. I never recurred them. Once I have Eater Keyhole out, maybe a Fem if there's anything difficult, then that's pretty much my rig set. And Spinal Modem is still awesome, and I'm still enjoying playing that. Again, those 2 extra credits are really good, especially when there's a high chance most of your economy is going to get trashed anyway. So, yeah, 2 free credits a turn is not too shabby for when you run. I also built a newer version of my Leela deck, the one that had basic. I think it was quite similar to, I think it was Dave Hoyland's deck in the end. But yeah, I've built a Centrals only version of that. And yeah, this is the one I played against you actually on Jinteki, and yeah, it's good. Data folding is not as good in that deck as I'd hoped it would be, so that's coming out, I think. But I had 2 very unlucky games with it on Tuesday last week, and I didn't draw into what I needed to, and then I got closed accounts really early on in the second game, so then I lost. I think my starting turn was like 2 lucky finds. then I think I siphoned them, and then they closed accounts me. Yeah, that's my own bad. So I was like, damn, okay.
It was too cocky.
It's too cocky.
The hubris. Yeah.
Thinking I'd get my money out. But no, yeah, I like it, and I think the central only breakers for the criminals are definitely underrated. I think that
it's a solid deck. Yeah. I like it. It's more solid than I thought it would be.
Yeah, because I think you were surprised when I was getting. What was it? I was getting my breach was getting past. Was it your? I think it was probably your Eli or something like that.
I can't remember.
Yeah, still.
I put that game as far from my mind as possible. It's just shocking. Yeah. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm done now.
Yeah, but no, yeah, breach and Alias. Again, like most criminals play Passport these days, and Passport's great. And it's like, well, Alias and Breach are also great. It just means I don't know. I still feel that maybe I need like a Crypsis or something like that, just in case I need to get into a remote server. Or so I thought about running Interference, but then it's like, well, if they've got pop-up windows and quandaries and cheap ice, then really that doesn't make any difference. I'm still not getting in. But no, yeah, I think central breakers are great, but you maybe just need a little bit of support from a Crypsis or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And other than that, I've been refining my amazing next Foundry Grail deck. I know. Although,
how I hate you.
saying that, I did run in a few games where I didn't actually draw into IT department or I got trashed beforehand, and it's good. It took all of my wits to try and win, but oh my god, it's difficult. Mostly, what I've done now is I've dropped the NAPDs because I was finding when I scored those, it was very begrudgingly, and they often didn't really protect themselves. Like the runners never really kind of got them. So what I've instead decided is efficiency committee, because I think because the main drawback to IT department is the first turn. That's when it's weakest. You install it and click it twice, or it's already installed and you res it and click it 3 times. And that's kind of the point where if they're going to trash it, that's their window. And I think if you have a scored efficiency committee, being able to go up to 6 clicks and then install and then click it 5 times, already like the IT department is invincible at that point. So I think there's slightly more kind of synergy and cooperation between those cards, and I think that efficiency committee can probably kind of get round IT department's weakest point, which is the turn when it's installed. And because I was really struggling with money and also making impenetrable servers with the IT department, I realized what I needed to do, and that was, shockingly for a HB deck, get rid of my Adonis campaigns.
Oh, it's awful.
Instead,
it just makes me so sad.
It does, but instead I've set up 3 shell corporations in the deck. Because I realized, again, it's like Adonis is great, but you know, it takes a bit of time to get going, and then it's either going in your scoring server, and that kind of locks you out of putting agendas in there for a while, or it goes out naked, and the runner can do stuff to it when it's out there on its own. But Shell Corporation, you put this in the same server as your IT department, and that's the safest it's ever going to be. And the fact it's not unique means you can put all 3 of them in the same server as your IT department, and just keep clicking that. Obviously, the deck becomes really click intensive when you're trying to click to increase the IT department's power and click to get money on Shell Corporation. But I think when IT department gets going, 1 to 2 clicks per turn is fine with it anyway. But I did just to cap this off. Oh yeah, I've gone down to 1 Excalibur as well, because I found that I never needed 2 if 1 was on the board. Then obviously I couldn't really put the other one down, because then if that gets res, it gets trashed. And then when it's in hand, adding it as a subroutine to the Grail Ice means they just run less click and then save a ton of money. When if they face 3 consecutive Grail Ice, if they face 3 consecutive Grail Ice, and then you have the Excalibur subroutine on each of them, then that's 3 credits they save. So yeah, I've forgone one of those, and that obviously freed up a bit of space to put the Shell Corporations in. But yeah, I had the scariest game. By the final turn, I had 2 Priorex and 2 NAPDs in hand, and there was 1 final ABT in the deck. The rest of them had been scored out evenly between us, and then the score was 5-4 to the runner. And I was like, I have no way of winning this. I honestly have no way of winning this. And then came the godsend that was IT department. And I installed that in my mega crazy 4 Ice Deep scoring server and just kept clicking it. And I just kept clicking, and I just kept clicking, and I just kept clicking, to the point where the runner went, I can't win, I concede. I was like, I have 4 agendas in hand and you conceded. Oh my god. Thank you.
The relief.
I thought I was doomed at that point, but no. The fact that just being able to get IT department up to a point where I can make my next bronze like 30 odd strength is just crazy. It's like it would have just become a game where they just kept putting money on Katie to try and to have enough money to get past the strength and subroutines, but then for every 1 click they can put on Katie, I can put 3 on IT department, so they could never outpace me, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So again, it's still the savior of that deck. And also, I managed to fire off my first ABT that saw 3 pieces of ice, which meant I didn't have to use a Foundry ability. And I put out 2 consecutive next silvers over R&D to make that super taxing, and a next gold over my scoring server. I was like, you can try and get in if you want. Needless to say, they basically didn't run after that.
No, I can imagine. Anytime you just scare a runner into not running, it's great.
Yeah, it's so good. But no, so yeah, still enjoying that, and I started putting together a Stronger Together deck that utilized Brain Taping Warehouse from the Valley pack. But then I never ended up playing that because my Foundry games just went on so long. I was like, I just want to play a quick max game and then move on and play something else. But yeah, that was using Valley Grid and Brain Taping Warehouse to just create servers of death and just put enough brain damage on the runner to then make running against the Valley Grid just impossible, which I think is quite good. But again, that morphed into my my Replicating Perfection deck because I was splashing so much Jinteki stuff anyway. I was like, I might as well put this back into Jinteki.
Yeah, well, why not?
Yeah.
Well, oh my god, I'm knackered. I think I need to go. I think I need to go and lie down in a dark room.
I think we need a good month before the next data pack. We've exhausted
Yes.
ourselves.
Thank God. But yes, until next time, Mark, do the thing that you do.
Do the end of the show things. Oh.
Yeah, the things that I can't do.
The things you can't do.
The things that has been proved recently. I lack the capability of trying to promote our stuff. You'll see why. You'll see.
Okay.
It's a secret thing.
The end of the show things. If you want to get in touch with us, then you can email us at nerdrunnerspodcast@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at MarcusFriend. You can find Steph on Twitter at House of Moose. You can
Probably won't reply. Every time.
Every time. You can find the podcast on Reddit and on the website, which is canleft.com/Nerdrunners. But before we close up, we've actually had one piece of reader feedback.
What? This is unheard of.
Don't sound so surprised. So we've got our first piece of reader feedback from Warren from Baltimore in America. And he says, hey guys, being someone who's always trying to put in underused cards into my decks, I'm enjoying your podcast. My personal favorites are DRT, which I've been using before it was cool, Encryption Protocol, and Director Haas. You suggested people write in to tell you about using an unusual card, and here's mine, Invasion of Privacy. And in case you're not sure what Invasion of Privacy does, I will let you know. It is an NBN card. It costs 2 and it's 3 influence. It's a double Grey Ops operation. So yep, usual 2 clicks to play. It's a trace 2. If successful, reveal the runner's grip and trash a number of resources and or events from it by the amount by which your trace strength exceeds the runner's link strength. If unsuccessful, take a bad publicity. So that's what the card does. And Warren has been using it in Argus Security as a surprise counter to I've Had Worse, which I think is a really cool idea. He says, I was playing the card the other day and just had 4 points of agenda stolen from archives. It had been second click, so my opponent had just taken and cleared the 2 tags. He had gone down to 3 credits, but felt safe because he had a Plascrete with 2 counters on it, and unbeknownst to me, 2 I've Had Worse in hand. My first 2 clicks were to play Invasion of Privacy, boosting the trace to 8. I looked at his hand and all 5 cards were events or resources. He trashed those, not triggering the I've Had Worse since it wasn't discarded due to damage, and then I punitive counter-striked him for the win. Keep up the good work. So I think that's a really great example of underused card being used in a phenomenally good way. And it just goes to show that
someone listens to us. That's what I'm taking away from this.
I was going to say, even the most overlooked cards still have their place in the game, and you can play a surprise card and all of a sudden wipe out a runner's hand, and then it doesn't trigger cards that are there to respond to things like that. Because obviously, like at the moment, a lot of Wayland are playing Traffic Accident to try and ping out that I've Had Worse before playing the Scorched Earth for the win. So being able to have a look at the runner's hand, get rid of the I've Had Worse, or even get rid of every single card in their hand, leaving them completely open to either a Traffic Accident or a Punitive or a Scorch or any net or meat damage that you can have, is a really good idea. And I think I might have to build a deck around that at some point, because I like the idea of just being able to go, oh, so now you don't have any cards in hand and you're dead.
Yeah, it's good, and thank you very much for writing in. It was very nice to get that message.
Yeah.
And I may have done a little jig for glee when Mark sent me the notification.
So yes, if you, like Warren, have unusual decks or unused cards that you play with and want to let us know, then yep, like I said, the email address is nerdrunnerspodcast@gmail.com. So yeah, get in touch. We do like hearing from you guys and girls in the Netrunner community land. And I think
that was a mouthful.
I kept talking. I didn't want to stop for some reason.
I'm really sorry about my my lack of attention today. It's bad. I'll be better next time, I promise, listeners.
You were pounding the diesel last night, and
oh my, it was tequila. That's what did it for me. Whatever, space tequila. That's what the future drinks. I'm going now.
Okay.
I think we've got to go. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Right, I've written the intro. I've had to bastardize because it's the thing that I'm plagiarizing is not as close to what I thought what I wanted it to be.
That's fine,
but it's cool.
I don't mind plagiarism. It's the highest form of respect.
Yeah,
some would say.